Uh, Start this camera. Uh-oh. How are we doing? Let's get this virtual background going. How's everybody doing? Marvelous. So we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and then, oh, maybe we won't do that. Let's see. Ah, well, looks like, how's everybody doing? Looks like they're not going to let me put my virtual background up, but let's do this. Let's go to the slide presentation real quick. We can do that. And what I want to talk to you about is just kind of have a little bit of a heart to heart conversation today about kingdom principles of identity and wealth creation. Because what I'm learning is that managing money and learning the details of doing that is that's I don't know, that's maybe 20% of the struggle or 20% of what we got to do. 80% of it 80% of it is managing you. Okay, 80% of it is managing you. So that I'm learning is it's really about managing Gus, the person who's managing the money. Managing the money takes care of itself when I'm managing me in the correct manner. So I'm gonna try this. Okay, I'm gonna try this one more time. See if it'll let me do it. Uh, so it'll do that one. Okay, we'll use that one. So let's go to the we talked about this. We talked about this. So here's what I want to have a conversation with you about. And as many of you that can chime in via the comment section, I would ask you to do that. Okay. Many years ago, I was at the University of Arizona in a summer school class, and there was a professor there from Harvard, and he made this statement. And we were talking about urban planning and managing cities and the complexities of doing that. And he said, "What you see is from where you sit." Everybody makes decisions for their life from where they sit. And in your seat, where you're sitting right now, you bring all your experiences, good and bad, all the information you've got right now, all the trauma, all the insight, all the everything that you are creates your perspective. And that perspective you have makes all the difference. One of the conclusions I came to and had to deal with is that everything you have in your life financially right now is a sum total of your identity. It's who you are because everything you do flows out of your identity. And we're going to talk about right that in a few minutes. It says in a book I lead, they call it the basic instruction before leaving earth. Some people call it a Bible. Basic instruction before leaving earth says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. As a man thinks in his heart. Now hear what it said. It said thinks in his heart. Wait a minute. Last time I knew heart was a physical organ. So it's not talking about that. Here's what I want you to think about. And look, I happen to be a Christian. So I can just come from my perspective. If you have another perspective, you're welcome to it. But here are the principles and see if they don't apply. Okay? So there is a part of me that's not physical. Is there a part of you that's not physical? Yeah. It's called your soul, your ability to think, your ability to feel, and your ability to make decisions, your will. Okay, that's your soul. But then there's a spiritual side of you. So your soul allows you to connect to people primarily, and it allows you to connect to God. But your spirit is the part of you that's made like God. Because God is spirit, He's not a body. He has a soul because He can think, He can choose, and He can feel, but He doesn't have a body. So your heart is when your mind interprets what's happening with you spiritually. That's your heart. Some people have an evil heart. Why? Because they have an evil spirit that hasn't been regenerated or made whole again. Some people have a bitter heart or a hard heart or an angry heart. Or some people are kind. It depends on how they think and their relationship with their spirit. That's your heart. So as a man thinks in his heart, so he is. It also says what goes into the man isn't what defiles the man, it's what comes out. So what you see is from where you sit. Your perspective makes all the difference because that's how you see the world. So one of the things I want you to do is however you take notes, I want you to write down what are the things that have shaped your perspective, your ethnicity, your family, what experiences, what education, what people. Take some time, get with yourself, by yourself, with yourself, and think about the things that have shaped you. Because as an adult, which most of you are, guess what? We get to choose the things that shape us, that we allow to shape us. And if the sum total of what shaped you to this point has gotten you to the point where you are financially, are you happy with that? Are you satisfied with that? Or would you like to improve that? If you like to improve it, then you and I have to go to the next level. That's one of the things that I learned I'm learning is that for me to get to the next level financially, I have to get to the next level of me. As a friend of mine said, the next you. And you have to work on that. So the first two sessions of this Do Shop in April, we're going to be talking about mindset and working on you. The last two, we're going to go through the financial basics of what you need to do to put your plan together. Okay? So here we go. Everyone has a worldview, a way of seeing the world. How would you describe where you're sitting to view your life? Write those things down. What are a part of the world that you live in your mind? I'm not talking about the world that's out here. I live in Chicago. I live in a certain area in Chicago. I move around Chicago in certain patterns and go certain places. And that's kind of the world I live in. But that's not talking about. When I'm moving through this physical world, what's the world inside of here that I'm living in, that I'm making decisions based on, that I'm taking my cues from, that I'm responding to? Write down what's in that world of yours. Where are you sitting? Where do you sit to make those decisions? We just elected a new mayor in Chicago. So I believe they're going to get sworn in tomorrow. When he starts sitting in that seat downtown being mayor, what he sees being mayor is different than what he saw when he wasn't mayor. The whole world changed because he's from that perspective. As mayor, I have to have a point of view. Hello? So, what's your point of view? What's shaping it? The roles you have, the responsibilities you have, the experience you have. I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a friend, I own businesses. I work in a startup company. I have responsibilities and roles at my church. I'm a podcaster. I'm here creating content. All these different roles and responsibilities. So how do you see yourself? Here's a perspective. You don't have to agree with me. You can challenge it. It's up to you. I mean, that's cool. But you have to live with your perspective. I believe that seeing your life from God's perspective is the best and only vantage point. Okay, I put some scriptures up here to talk about once you have a relationship with God, you're sitting at His right hand, and that's where I see my life from. Because at the right hand of God, I have access. It says to all the spiritual blessings in the heavenly places. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. He says, I'm righteous, I'm holy, I'm blameless, I'm powerful. The same power that raised Jesus from the dead lives inside me. There are all these things that are true that create what we're going to talk about next. Identity. Everything in your life flows out of your identity. Who you think you are. And unfortunately, some people's life flows out of what other people think about them, especially in our social media age when everybody wants to put up a certain image. Guess what? I'm not perfect. Ask my wife of 30, about to be 38 years. Do I have everything together financially? No. Do I have everything together spiritually? No. But I'm alive and I'm keep striving to next level. Keep striving for next level. Keep getting better. Okay? So check out these verses and see what it says about where you sit at the right hand of God if you have that relationship with Him and what access that gives you into His kingdom. Because everything in life follows this formula. This is a process that's just true. The world is based on principles. You think it's not? In laws. Try to go against the law of gravity. Law of lift, thrust, laws around electricity. Our world is based on laws. Otherwise, we couldn't do this Zoom kind of thing we're doing right now because this whole technology is based on laws and principles. So it works like this: be, do, have. You can't have things that are inconsistent with your identity and how you really see yourself. So here we go. Identity. It's your foundation. You're a human being. B-E-I-N-G. Human B hyphen ing. Human being. Okay? You're a spiritual being. So the foundation of your life is what? Being. So who are you? How do you describe who you are? Have you ever written that down? This is what describes me. What's your personality like? What are your likes? What are your dislikes? What are you good at? What are you bad at? Who are you? Who do you think you are? What do you believe is true about yourself? Watch the words that come out of your mouth, that come out of other people's mouth when they describe themselves. If you don't want it to be true in your life, don't say it out of your mouth. It says, in your tongue is the power of life and death. Don't give life to things with your words that you don't want to see happening in your life. Here's some other verses to write down about your identity, what it says about who you are. So as you and I are on this journey about money and creating wealth, and we're going to talk about the 7 different kinds of wealth. Money's only one of them, and it's the least one of the least important. It is important though, but Base your success and worth on your true identity and what you're called to do as a part of that identity. Because before the world was formed, God had already built into you certain gifts and abilities and certain things that He wanted you to do. Each one of you listening to this podcast was put together uniquely to solve a problem. Because if you look at those verses in Genesis 1:26, God told Adam and Eve to go out, to be fruitful. If you're fruitful, you got to have seeds. You got to plant the seeds to get a fruit. So He had built seeds into Adam and Eve that they could go out into this world He created and make it better, to make it fruitful, to take those seeds, plant them, be fruitful, to multiply. I'm not just, He's just wasn't talking about have babies. No, 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 no. Multiply and duplicate His person, the person that He was, to duplicate that, for other people to take on that character and subdue the earth. Subdue the earth meant to bend it to its will. Everything that's been created on the earth was already there in Genesis 1. With the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding we've gained over time, and in some areas gone backwards, we've taken all this that God has given us material and we've bent it into the world we have today. We've subdued the earth and created the things we have today. Some things are just fantastic, and some of them are horrible. And we've used this technology for the wrong reasons, to hurt people. You understand what I'm saying? But who are you? Who did God create you to be? And what did He create you to do? That's your first assignment, is to know that. Because that's the person that's going to go out and create wealth for you and your family. And knowing who you are and what you're called to be and to do, what problems you were put here to solve, is how you create value. Listen, listen, listen. The way you make money is you create value for people. The way you create value is you solve a problem. The reason a person has a job is whatever that job does is a problem for the business owner. Why is it a problem? Because the business owner can't do all the jobs. So that's the first problem. I can't do all these jobs. So I need somebody who's gifted to do them. And if I own a business, I need to find people who can do this stuff so this business can grow and get bigger. Do you understand what I'm saying? So either you're a problem solver or you're solving problems for somebody else. You need to understand what they are, because that's a part of your identity and how you were made. And as you personally develop in those areas and understand your value and how to position your value in the marketplace to maximize the money you make. But it starts with your identity. Who are you? Where do you sit from? How do you see yourself? How do you see your role in the world? That's what it starts with. Okay? Now, I know this isn't the most interactive of mediums, but if you got a question or a statement about that, if anybody's out there, let a brother know. Hit me in the comments, say something, ask something, let me know. I'm going to take about 30 seconds or so. It's going to seem like an eternity, but I'm going to take 30 seconds to hear from somebody. Then we'll go on to the next point. Okay? Here we go. So everybody got this? Or 10 seconds, 5 seconds. Okay, that's it. So first is your identity. That's your being. That's the be part of it. And it's the most important part. Because because who you see yourself as will determine what you do. That determines your doing. Okay, let me say this one more thing about being. Being is about knowledge. It's about content. It's about understanding who you are. It's about your knowledge base. It's content. Okay? It's content. The more content you have, the more knowledge you have, the more information you have, generally speaking, the better decisions you can make. Okay? So that's the knowledge part. Okay, the understanding part, the understanding, okay, I got this knowledge. Now how does it work? How does it work to create value? Successful people, successful teams, successful groups, successful businesses are a result of successful what? Habits. Successful habits are a result of being the right person, thinking on the right ideas, and taking the right actions. And it's all based on your identity, who you are. I know when your mama raised you and your daddy raised you, they said something like this: don't go out there and make a fool out of your last name. Or we raised you better than that. Or something to that effect. Which meant was your identity should drive what you do. So if you're not doing the right things, if you procrastinate, you worry, you're fearful, you don't persevere to the end, you don't find yourself winning, it's based on your identity. Start there. Start on the being part. Yeah. You can try to change your actions, but it won't last if your identity isn't changed. It won't last if your identity isn't changed. So you got to start there. So as you go back and you look at your actions and you see you're not taking the right actions, go back and look at how does that show up in how you think about yourself, what you feel about yourself, what your expectations are. Okay? So first is your content, which is what you know, which is what drives your identity. What do you know about yourself? Who are you? That identity will then drive your actions. Be do. Okay? And those actions, they grow into habits. They grow into habits. They grow into habits. And then results. The having part is about your competence. So based on what you know, your ability to apply what you know in real life is called wisdom. It's you have skill connecting the dots. You're competent. You can execute things. Guess what? That's all identity based on your actions. So to change the results that we want, we have to change our identity. How do you change your identity? What books are you reading? What books are you reading? What podcasts are you watching? Who's coaching you? Who are your friends? Who do you hang out with? Those things shape your knowledge of yourself and the world around you. So part of how you change your identity are the people you hang out with and your sources of information and how you're shaping your thinking. It says in Romans 12, you have to renew your mind. The mind you have needs to be trained how to think and what to think on and how to develop its perspectives. You have to train it. How do you train it? Books and other content, the people you hang out with, and the things you're doing. So the content and the association with the right people will change your identity. When your identity is changing, you're going to do different things. And if you do different things, you have better habits, you're going to get better results. Does that make sense? I'm going to take a few seconds. Any comments about that? Any questions about that? I'm going to let the timer go off another 20 seconds. And we want to get some input from you about that. Because this is the last slide, and next week we'll pick it up talking about mindset. So I want you to think about this. What triggers you that makes you happy, that makes you sad, that makes you angry, that makes you joyful, that helps you dream about the future, that makes you worry? Those triggers are your perspective. Your responses to those triggers are your perspective. So I want you to spend some time this week really working through those things. Because, man, in the past couple of weeks, I've had some huge breakthroughs that are changing my life. I'm making different decisions. I'm doing different things. I'm becoming more consistent at things that I know I need to do to move my life forward. Okay? You've got a job or a business, most of you anyway, that you have to do something to create money. The better you are at doing those somethings, the more money you're going to make. If you're a business owner, the more you can scale having more and more people being good at whatever your business does is going to allow you to reach more people, move more products or services, and therefore create more wealth. But it all starts from being who you are. Who do you see yourself as? Where do you sit? What you see is from where you sit. Where are you sitting? Are you sitting in the throne room or are you sitting in the outhouse? I'm just saying, where do you see yourself sitting right now? Where are you living your life from? And you have to be coming from a good place to get to a better place. Okay? With that, hey, what I encourage you to do is like the broadcast, give us some feedback, subscribe to get notifications when we're on, and share it with other people. Okay? But just remember, it's be, do, have. All of us want to have a better financial situation we have now. So we need to do some different things, not just think about them, do them. But to do those things, we have to be that person already. How can you be somebody already making decisions to do things differently? That's the power of being made in the image and likeness of God. We are creators just like He is. So you can create that new life for yourself, but it starts in your thinking. Okay? You guys have a great weekend. Like the show, share it with other people. Let me know what you're thinking. Hit a brother up on the text via the you see there or the email. Let us know how you're doing, what you're thinking about what we're covering. Okay? You guys have a great day. Take care now. Bye bye.